right, game 2. Nett serves, 0.
The score is 0-0. Andy Nett and Sky Peters won the first game 21-14. It's going to be a big setup.
That's a tough shot, but
point.
That's really what Andy should do more of, Dave, is just drive that ball
down the middle.
Serve
3-4 feet high off the front wall with all that pace and hook.
Short. I was right. I was close. Short.
That's Dan lobbying there for his call.
Second serve.
The ball looked like it was good, Dave.
If the referee was close.
That ball looked perfect. Andy had that ball lined up, let that ball drop. Looked like it was going to roll out, Dave, but it just came up a little short. You see Sky Dave makes the mistake a lot of tall, sort of that low open A-level player make. He stands straight up when he hits the ball, Dave.
Point.
Really prevents him from maximizing his kill shots and also his power. He doesn't really use his legs. He just keeps those legs straight up and down. Works okay, Dave, when he hits the ball to the ceiling, but when he tries to shoot that ball comes in from a descending angle. Really need to remember, especially for the taller players, Dave, listening to bend, try and get as low as you can, get that contact point around knee level.
Half out.
That's frustrating right there.
2 serves 1.
Score is 2-1. I don't know if Jake knows just how much of a setup that serve is.
Dan loves that fist 3-wall shot, and Sky does also. Sky learned that shot in Las Vegas, Dave, and for those of you listening who want to learn from the great Dave Chapman, you can enroll in the newest camp, the Elite Camp. That's this winter, Dave, in Las Vegas. There's 3 dates available, December 9th to the 12th, December 12th to the 15th, and also December 18th to the 21st. There's a couple of spots remaining. You'll receive 5 hours a day of instruction, one-on-one with the 8-time national champion. You also get to enjoy all that comes with the camp. There's a great dinner there, Dave, also. Great cocktail hour, great camaraderie, except when you show up. I'm sorry.
1 serves 3.
Score is 1-3. Yeah, I've been to that before. Certainly the carte blanche.
I don't know French.
I was just saying it was a good experience.
So is that what carte blanche means?
No, not necessarily.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
2 serves 3. Point.
And he jams that ball into the hand unable to extend his hand to make that swing. That ball nearly hit him in the stomach. And the hand once again.
4 serves 3.
With an air off that Andy Nett serve. You see Andy Nett serving pretty much exclusively, Dave, to Dan Armijo. It's surprising. That's a nice get there from Sky. He had that shot lined up. Now, Dave, I know you played a lot of Pro-Am doubles.
4 serves 3.
Is the general rule, Dave, that you alternate serves as a pro, or do you generally serve to the pro, or do you just go in there and try and win and go right after the amateur player?
Well, as a person that's had it happen to him, not necessarily as one to do it to somebody else, you just go after the weaker player.
Okay.
You're trying to win this.
Didn't know if there was a protocol involved.
I think when you get down to the semis and the finals, all protocol is out the window.
Well, they're playing for a prestigious title here.
What's going on here? I thought.
Did you 2 bounces? I thought you got that. You want to replay it?
Referee Dave actually asking the players to call the game.
4 serves 3.
Interesting.
Short. Second serve.
I'll be interested to see the next time I watch an NFL game, Dave, if the referee asked the offensive lineman if he held. If not, okay. Play stands.
That's a good
3
point.
serves 4.
Well, the police officers always stop and ask if you've been drinking. I mean,
I'm trying to figure out the correlation right now. I'm staying with you.
They're your highways referee.
4 serves 4.
Okay.
So it does
I see your
happen.
point, actually.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. At first I was skeptical, but
Don't think it doesn't happen.
okay.
Jake Plummer with that diving get left corner.
5 serves 4.
You can thank me later for that.
I'm thinking right now. That's the shot that we saw Dan attempt on game point in the last game. A little bit of contact there, but Sky still hits a nice ball. And Dan just hits that revolving door shot, Dave. That's when you're taking that ball with your right hand off the left wall, back wall. You got to fire those hips all the way through and turn it. Dan did that perfectly, and we got a great angle of that from our great cameraman.
Nice pass. Half out. Six serves 4.
This webcast, Dave, actually being sponsored by Mintech, based in Tucson. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, Dave. What would you rather do on a Saturday night, Dave? We've got some of the top handball players in the world, and this is just the first match of the night session. It's only going to get better.
Nice cover right there from Skyler. And he's going to have to cover again, but he doesn't get it.
You see, Dave, it's interesting the way Dan the Hand takes that back wall shot. He doesn't move back with the ball. He just waits for it. Really puts himself in a good position. Doesn't use much footwork, but still very successful. You see most players, Dave, back up with the ball a step or two and then move in with it. There's Andy, pops that ball up.
Point.
And Dan takes his time there and kills that ball right in front of the Dreamboat.
8 serves 4.
You know, Jake was the biggest celebrity at this event, Dave, until the ladies found out that the Dreamboat is in fact single. Don't kid.
It's funny that there's a certain group of young, inspiring men that travel around and watch the women pros, but when Andy Nett is in the building, there's the exact opposite of that happening.
Well, as we know, Dave, that the gallery, the blonde bombshells gallery has had to move to another eligible bachelor following the marriage of the blonde bombshell just last year, and they've made a swift and smooth transition right to the Dreamboat.
4 serves 8.
The president of the gallery is a little frustrated, so she moved over to Andy Nett after the recent marriage between Erica and. Yeah, what I can say is I'm a little happy that the same thing that happened to Selena didn't happen to Ellen Garner after that took place. Luckily for us, though, we've got a great replacement in Andy Nett.
He tried to save it there at the end. Didn't necessarily do it, but the effort was there and noted.
Thank you. I drove all around town and finally decided to park the car at the very end there. I didn't go anywhere. Sounded like the ball broke.
Half out.
Seen a lot of broken balls this weekend.
9 serves 4.
Score is 9-4. Got some hard hitters up here. That ball sounds broken to me, Dave.
Side out.
You see Jake just running backwards and trying to hit that ball with a scoop swing facing the front wall. He needed to step into that ball and turn sideways, Dave. You'd also like to see Jake develop some sort of fist from the back court.
Look at that dig from Skyler. He was intimidated in the very beginning of this match, but now he isn't.
It's half out.
Sky Peters is really playing good ball right now.
Very steady.
4 serves 9.
Score is 4-9. I like that serve too.
Didn't hit it quite high enough, but still got the setup for his partner. Sky makes a good adjustment on that ball. Talked to Sky's dad today, Dave, and asked him why he and his son aren't playing doubles here, and he said, well, it doesn't go so well when they play doubles. I think
you can relate to that. Sorry.
That's for sure.
I know your dad's back home, not necessarily watching, just listening to you. Eating cheese. Don't worry, though. Mary will pick it up later.
You sound critical. She's just doing her job.
Wow.
Dan Armijo with another back wall kill. That's his 11th back wall kill here, Dave, halfway through the second game. As you know, Dave, it's very difficult to kill balls in doubles. You've got generally two guys in front of you. And Dan takes all the power from that Andy Nett drive and takes enough off of that ball.
11 serves 4.
And just dies that ball up against the bottom board. Andy with a nice drive
mid the wall.
there.
That's a half out. No. 11 serves 4.
Jake attempting to hit that cross-court two-wall lob serve. Didn't catch the side wall.
Point.
Sky with a uncharacteristic, unforced error there. Ceiling game is the strength of his
12
game.
serves 4.
Tried to put that ball back in the left corner and missed it.
Point.
Excellent shot there from Jake. Takes that mishit ceiling shot.
13 serves 4.
Kills that ball about 2 inches high. You know, Dave, Jake sometimes too nice for his own good. He's seems to be playing Dan Armijo, or excuse me, Andy Nett.
4 serves 13.
Surprised we don't see him go after the young Sky Peters a little bit more.
I like that shot right there from Andy.
It's one of those in-between shots, Dave, where, and that's the same way where you're not sure whether you should let that ball come off the back wall or
half out.
Get off the ground and try and hit that ball back to the ceiling.
4 serves 13.
You don't have that problem quite as much, Dave, because you're 6'8".
You're actually talking horizontal. Wow.
Point.
Beautiful shot there from Andy.
5 serves 13.
These guys have been on the court all day, Dave. Andy played a doubles match at 10 this morning, played his singles match at 12. Now back on the court for another doubles match.
Dan Armijo, another kill shot right there.
5.
Score is 13-5.
He's one of the most effective back wall players still in the game. Our final match of the night, Dave, will be Natti Alvarado Jr. in his first tournament back in just about 2 years, taking on Luis Moreno. Dave, we remember the first time those two played in 2007 at the U.S. Open. Luis narrowly losing that match. That was a 19-year-old Luis Moreno. Nearly shocking Natti. Actually held an 8-5 lead in that tiebreaker, went on to lose 11-8.
Replay.
Now we fast forward, Dave, and it's Luis Moreno who comes in as the much higher ranked player.
5.
Also the big favorite in that match.
But didn't Natti defeat Luis in, no, excuse me, it was actually Dave Chapman defeated Luis in Alaska. It was Natti defeating Sean Linning in Alaska, and then Dave Chapman in the finals.
Side out.
But didn't Natti defeat Luis after?
That's true. Natti did beat Luis in Seattle.
All right, okay.
About
5 serves 13.
4 months later there.
That's a nice, fast, hard serve right there. It didn't I don't know if it's a slide as much as that is just the power of Andy Nett.
We saw a lot of that in the outdoor season, Dave. Andy Nett hits that ball so hard and compresses it, and particularly when it hits the cement, it has a tendency to just take off like it hit ice.
Skip.
That's the kind of shot that really feels good when you make it. It's a tough shot.
Unlike the Titanic when it hit ice, the Dreamboat, when it...
I'm with you.
It hits... I don't know how to finish this one.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to stop.
Okay.
That's a half out.
But I was with you. And if you come back to it, I'm still going to be there.
7 serves 13.
You know I'll come back to it, though.
7 serving 13 here. Sky Peters serving with a nice reverse there. Andy hops that ball away from Dan, but Dan hangs in the point. Here's a setup. Great shot there, and an incredible get from the former quarterback challenge champion.
Look at that get right there from...
The slide? Okay,
wow.
Replay.
I don't know why he'd want to play that over.
I didn't think that ball slid. Jake Plummer, Dave, actually
7
winning the
serves 13.
NFL quarterback challenge in Hawaii. Beat somebody that you may have heard of, Peyton Manning, not a bad quarterback.
Skip. Side out.
Also, captain comeback, Jim Harbaugh, took place.
Nice.
Wet.
Jake told me that he has
Hand him
a
that towel over there. Right.
$1 million bet versus a former receiver of his that the receiver cannot beat him in a game of handball for $1 million. He said no matter what, at any time, any place, the bet will always be on for $1 million. I'm not going to name names because I don't do that.
Could it be Rod Smith? So I got it on the first guess.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
But it is interesting. He said no matter what, you can make a phone call and say he's ready to play. We've got $1 million bet on the table.
All right. 13 serves 7.
Is that 1 million bags of sand or?
Yes, yeah, Sam.
Okay.
Right. There's a serve from Dan the Hand Armijo. This is game number 2 of the men's Pro-Am. That's going to be tough.
The great Northwest, famous for their Pro-Ams, Dave. Great get there
Half
from
out.
Sky. See that good touch from Sky Peters. Ran through that ball and had enough control
serves 7.
to feather that ball.
I heard the score of 13-7.
Not sure I understand that serve from Jake. Obviously, Dave, the objective of the serve is to either hit an ace or force a weak return from your opponent, and clearly just underhand lobbing that to your opponent's strong hand will not consistently yield one of those results. And you see the difference there. Andy goes after Jake with a reverse hop down that right wall and gets the ace. And there's another one, and that's a weak return. And that's really something Andy needs to work on if he will take that next step, Dave, into the top 10. He gets too many balls off his back foot. There's really never been a player that was effective hitting the ball off their back foot.
Except for you.
That's a point.
And I saw that in your last match. You are the best off-footed,
9 serves 13.
what I like to call it, kill shot artist, probably of all time. Although in 32 millimeter, Vic Hershkowitz had a pretty good off-balance shot too.
Point.
Sorry, I'm not sorry.
10 serves 13.
10 serves 13. Skylar Peters serving here. In game number 2, it was Skylar and Andy Nett winning the first one 21-14.
Looked like it would be
second serve.
Armijo and Plummer taking the second game. They built a substantial lead, led 13-6 at one point. Now their lead has been trimmed to 3. That would make it 13-10. And there's a setup. Sky hits the floor.
Oh, that's going to be tough right here. Look at that shot from Jake Plummer, and the crowd likes it too.
Dan Armijo sort of celebrates by himself over there by the left side wall. He enjoyed it.
13 serves 10.
Our cameraman pans out into the gallery here. The gallery's been well fed here tonight, Dave. One of the great restaurants in Coeur d'Alene, Caruso's, Dave, catering an incredible meal. I know you went for fourth,
actually.
Oh, fourth, okay.
I did 2 plates each time, so that's why I stopped at 4.
Okay.
That's okay, though, right? I mean,
absolutely, sure.
I use the same plate.
14 serves 10. 14.
I recycle, too. That makes a difference. Not sure if it does. Got a laugh, but it wasn't for me. Watch this shot here from Danny, going for the kill. And
surprised Andy, just really no sense of awareness there. He just stood there facing the front wall. I don't know if he expected Dan to go back to the ceiling, but on his back foot there, unable to move in and retrieve that kill. So I just don't understand that serve. There's a stiff arm paddle kill from Jake Plummer. A nice shot, took that with his left.
16 serves 10.
Jake telling us that he could throw slant patterns and outs left-handed, and often did it, Dave, in warm-ups. He said that Coach Mike Shanahan walked by and said, "Did you throw that ball with your left?" As after Jake threw about a 35-yard strike. And Mike Shanahan said, "Must be that handball." He said, "Yep, Coach, it was." Actually told us a funny story today, David. He was down on the goal line, had his right arm glued to his side by an oncoming defensive lineman, had the ball in his left, and actually threw the pass with his left into the end zone. His tight end, not expecting it, the ball popped up and turned out to be an interception.
ESPN had fun with that, by the way.
Point.
That play was pretty famous for Jake, as they played
11 serves 16.
multiple times over and over, but Jake actually put on a nice tight spiral too, and the problem was his tight end
hit you, Sky?
turned the wrong way. It was sort of like a scrambling wildcat type
Point.
play.
Okay,
Jake was known as a pretty good scrambler, but he threw to the tight end's left, thinking that he'd turn over to the left. He turned to the right, and
point.
If he would have just broke the other way, Jake would have been all over the news for that left-handed spiral.
13 serves.
Instead, he was all over the news for the wrong reason.
Right, 13-16.
Point.
And there's 2 consecutive aces for Andy. That's really been the difference in this match. Particularly in that first game, we saw Andy and Sky build a big lead on Andy's ace serves down the right.
Short.
And you saw early in this game, Dave, Andy serving exclusively to Dan Armijo.
Second serve.
Found themselves trailing, and now he's going after
Half out.
Jake Plummer on a second serve there. He gives Dan a back wall setup, and Dan
16.
rolls that ball out.
That was the 17th kill shot from Dan Armijo in this game alone. A lot of them for half outs and side outs, not points. And look
Great
at that
shot
one right there
from Dan.
Side out.
That's number 18 from Dan the Hand Armijo.
Tough shot. That's an Alan Garner special, Dave. That's the left hand into the right corner.
14.
Actually hit that ball from about chest high. Good fish there from Sky, and that's a nice 2-wall defensive shot there from Dan. Gets the setup.
Dan
Ball
pushing.
just scrapes the. And there's an error there from Jake. You see Jake diving in, facing the front wall.
Looked like you
Half
just
out.
jumped over it almost.
16 serves 14.
16-14.
Jake has a tendency, Dave, to dive when he doesn't need to dive. And you see a lot of players that watch the pros and they see the pros hit the deck and they want to sort of play like the pros, just like a football player would want to play like Jake Plummer, but there's a certain time that you need to dive. Really, it's a last resort.
17 serves 14.
I know, Dave, when you dive, you don't get up, so it really is a last resort for you.
I actually don't finish the tournament.
Side
Well,
out.
that's right. When I say you didn't get up, I mean
Yeah,
you actually.
yeah. I'm going along with you on that. And most of the time, I'll
14
actually debate
serves
you, but
17.
it's usually the end of the tournament.
No.
There's a great picture of you diving,
Second serve.
ending a tournament from the Long Island Open. Fans can check that out on Facebook. Just become friends with David Charles Vincent. Get access to all those great shots.
Just look under the heading
Half
whale
out.
pictures. It's an easy one to find.
You're the Tila Tequila of internet friends. What do you have?
14,
10,422?
Mm-hmm.
I saw you add 10 earlier today, so that might actually have increased.
I only know about 400 of those people. Wow.
Point.
That ball did slide, and Dan has a slight argument. He might have been able to, if it checked up like the ball has been, he could have popped it back. That ball
15
slid
serve 17.
about 7 feet out there.
I disagree, Dave. I haven't seen any ball that I would have called a slide in this tournament. This
Point.
pretty cool in here, Dave. Where the conditions outside are really perfect. About 55 degrees, no humidity.
16 serve 17.
Nice air conditioning in the club as well. I don't see any problems whatsoever.
Jake's having problems with that. Something to remember for later when you play in the Pro-Am.
Ashley will not be in the Pro-Am.
Ever?
That's right. I do play mixed doubles pro, though.
Excellent.
When my partner, Anna Engel, will
Side out.
Come out of retirement too.
That's my partner.
Wonder which one hit that one.
She slums it when she plays with me, but I appreciate it.
Well, maybe one year Jake will play with a top women's
17
pro, and you
serve
might have a
16.
chance to face Jake.
Ashley did face Jake last year.
Half out.
His partner Eric and I lost to he and Luis Moreno. That match can be seen on
17
Vimeo.
serve 16.
17 serve 16, game number 2. Jake and Dan Armijo trying to force
Skip.
a tiebreaker. Now it's 18
18 serve 16.
to 16.
For all of our members out there,
Short.
Dave, make sure you go to Vimeo.com/WPH.
Second serve.
We have 117 matches uploaded onto the site, many of them in high definition. Really some of the best matches that have been played, Dave, in the last 5 years in handball are on there. You can spend a week on that site, Dave, and still not have your fill of pro handball. There's
Point.
juniors on there, there's pros on there, pro women,
19
pro
serve
football
16.
players.
Uh-oh.
Side out.
Skyler actually tripped over his own feet there.
Just a very strange serve there from Jake. Just sort of lobbed that ball
16 serves 19.
10 feet off the back wall.
Jake has a cannon for an arm,
No.
too. And yet he's not using it on that serve like Andy Nett is.
Second serve.
Well, Jake hasn't developed that cannon on the sidearm swing yet. Jake's cannon is that overhand. And that's just the worst
out.
serve you can serve to Dan Armijo. That ball that comes around the left side wall and the back
16
wall. That's a
serves
revolving
19.
door shot that he's killed 13 times in this match. He's only had 14 opportunities, Dave, to hit that shot. He's well over 90% conversion rate.
It's a nice get from the hand. Now Jake Plummer's going to have to take charge here. He's going to get all of these balls. And he's got Danny pinned, so Jake's going to have to take everything, and he
Skip.
does not get that ball.
Point.
You see, when Dan got pinned over to the left, you know Jake's going to be forced to take everything. If you're
17
watching it at
serves
home,
19.
you have to pop back out to the center and take command if you're the left side player.
There's a weak return from Jake, and Andy will take that with his right. A complete miss.
That's going to hit 2 walls. Watch this. Go back to the front. Nope.
I actually hit myself with that shot yesterday. Right in the stomach.
That hit you, Jake? Okay. Side out.
That's a rare shot in handball where it hits the front wall so hard and high that it comes so far off the back wall and then
19
nearly hits the
serve
front wall
17.
again.
19 serve 17. That ball didn't hit Jake, but it might have hit his beard.
That's a great shot from Andy.
Half out.
A clutch shot, too. He misses that shot, Dave, and they're facing game point with a first server. Instead, it's
19 serves 17.
19-17. Jake's the second server.
I don't understand this serve.
Great dig there from Sky.
Wow.
That should have been Andy's ball. Don't hear much communication in there, Dave, amongst these teammates, but Andy definitely should have called off Sky there. That ball came off the...
I actually thought I heard Andy say mine.
Okay.
He just needs to say it louder.
That might have been also, Dave, one of those balls that just happened so quickly that Sky didn't have a chance to pull his hand down. It's game point here for Jake and Dan Armijo. 1 point from forcing a tiebreaker. Good pass.
Look at that
shot.
get from Jake Plummer. He gets it back to the front wall. Andy goes back to Jake again. Here's the setup. Skylar just cruises on over.
Hold up.
You'd like to see Andy take a little bit off those kills, Dave, when he's just 4 or 5 feet from the front wall. Just
20 serve 17.
slow down your swing just a little bit. Still accelerate through it, but just sort of dive that ball into the front wall, particularly with both guys so far behind him. And Andy with a miss hit there, and
Point.
Jake just barely catches that right side wall. Sky thought it was going to go straight down the side wall. You see these guys are pumped, Dave. I mean, they just held off the Dreamboat and Sky Peters to force the tiebreaker, and these guys are really pumped up.
Absolutely pumped. There's a good picture of Jake Plummer right there. The score in the first game was 21-14 in favor of Sky Peters and his doubles partner. But then all of a sudden, a big comeback by Jake Plummer and Dan Armijo, much like the one that we saw yesterday when they lost the first game and came back and won the second one, and then had a kind of a cruise there in the tiebreaker. We're kind of seeing that sort of momentum. What is Andy, Nett, and Skylar Peters going to have to do here to get back that momentum that they seem to lose there?
Well, you saw Andy serving to Dan Armijo, hitting Dan setups off the back wall, and routinely Danny killing those balls. Andy let a big lead take place there from Jake and Dan because of that. You saw him go back to serving to Jake and erase that deficit quickly. So Andy needs to come out here and really focus in on Jake, serve to Jake, pound that ball at Jake, because clearly Danny's playing extremely high-level handball right now. He's playing excellent defense. He's making a lot of great gets. He's also killed 21 balls, which is 13 more balls than anybody's killed in this match.
You're watching the live webcast of the Jake Plummer Family Helluva Handball Bash Part 3 and WPH Echelon Fireball Classic Live from Peak Health and Wellness in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. My name is Dave Vincent, alongside one of the greatest guys I've ever met in my life, David Fink, doing the match here. I know you have a match coming up against Dave Chapman, and I know you like to stretch and do your pre-tournament warm-up routine, but we have another women's semifinal match coming up. And then it'll be you versus Dave Chapman, and then we're going to see Nett Alvarato and Luis Moreno, I believe.
Very similar to the U.S. Open, Dave, that we watch from New York City. A lot of times you see Nadal and Federer getting on the court 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. You know, the matches get held up and they're scheduled for 9 or 9:30, and they're on the court at 11:30 playing until 1:30 or 2 in the morning. That could very well happen here, Dave. We could see Natti and Luis Moreno stepping on the court after 11 o'clock p.m. local time.
That's a good point. Now, Dave, look into the camera here. You have the RFC coming up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Talk about the Rodney Fink Classic and what it's meant to the local community in Pittsburgh.
Well, the Rodney Fink Classic has been a tribute, Dave, to one of the great ambassadors and great players in Pittsburgh handball history, my dad, Rodney Fink. And this year we're looking to actually take it to the next level. We're raising a lot of money right now, Dave, and we're actually going to use that money to build a handball program in Pittsburgh. Raise the money to get kids coming into the club, which is a Merifit there in Pittsburgh, and hopefully build a program similar, Dave, to what you have in Tucson, where we're able to get these kids involved in handball, passionate about handball, and eventually traveling to handball tournaments. So that's our goal right now, Dave. I know you've been to the tournaments. It's one of the great tournaments in the country. I've got the help of a lot of great handball players there in the city. Mike Semplis, also my dad, Rodney Fink. That tournament will be taking place, Dave, in in May of this year. I know the WPH will be there. We'll be filming. We'll be using the WPH ball.
Nice.
It'll be an extremely exciting event. We've had two of the great players in the sport winning that championship in the first 2 years. Dave Chapman capturing that title in 2009, Luis Moreno in 2010. So you really can't ask for any more than that, Dave. The two of the top 4 players in the world making their mark in the Steel City.
Now at this event, is that going to be held in Amerifink?
Yes, it will.
Give a little shout out to my buddy Mike Simplis, who is the manager, the acting manager there at the AmeriFit in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. How do you like the Pittsburgh Steelers and their year? Kind of a strange year. Before it's over with, they'll have about 7 different quarterbacks, all leading to wins.
Well,
and a possible Super Bowl appearance.
I would say a very possible Super Bowl appearance. You're talking about the best defense in football with Big Ben coming back from his off-field troubles. One of the best offenses in football. You know, you'll see a different Big Ben this year than you did last year. Big Ben a little bit complacent last year, I think, as was the entire team after winning the Super Bowl in 2008, 2009. Very difficult to come back with that big bullseye on your back. Also, the Steelers had injuries to their defense. Aaron Smith and Troy Polamalu really, that was the catalyst to the 5-game losing streak there in the middle of the season. You will not see that happen again this year. The Steelers very well could be 4-0. I think pretty happy to be 3-1. They blew a game there that they had in their hands against Baltimore, but they'll come back this week. Should handle Cleveland easily. That'll take them to 4-1, and I see them finishing right about 12-4 or 13-3 with home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And more than likely, they'll be in Dallas in late January playing for the Super Bowl.
And hopefully everybody will be at the RFC in Pittsburgh playing in that prestigious event coming up.
Here we go. 0 serve 0.
Early part of next year. 0 serve 0. This is the 3rd game, tiebreaker to 11. Andy Nett immediately starts picking on Jake Plummer.
There's a mistake.
Look at that shot right there.
Point. Or side out, I'm sorry, side out.
You see that shot from Dan Armijo? You just lets it drop just that little extra.
0 serve 0.
0 serve 0. Underhand.
Played Dan Armijo last year in this event, Dave, in the doubles, and I never saw so many flat kills off the back wall in 3 games.
That looked like it could have been a wrist shot, really deep on the end of his wrist.
Could have been, don't think it was.
Point.
Not sure what happened there.
1 serve 0.
1 serve 0. We're going to 11. Winner goes to the finals.
This ball slid. Replay.
We're right here, Dave, on worm's eye view, and certainly didn't see a slide there. Dan Armijo's reffing this game and playing it.
1 serve 0.
Led a great comeback there in the 2nd game to force this tiebreaker.
I don't like that serve. I really don't.
I just don't understand it.
I equally don't understand how Andy Nett is just not putting that next shot away. That's such a great setup. It's almost like someone saying,
0.
I'm going to put that ball on tee for you. Here you go. But Andy's not taking care of it either.
Side out.
Like
well,
you
Dave,
said,
you and I watch Andy play quite a bit. The kill shot really is not the strength of his game. Wins most of his points on the serve and just sheer power. Just you see even the top players having difficulty handling his power.
2nd serve.
You know, Dave, he's almost like a pitcher that throws 103 miles per hour, even if he's not locating it. It's still tough to connect.
1 serves 1.
You know, the ball's got a lot of movement on it, even if he leaves it down the middle.
What was that? It made it, though. He doesn't think it's good. Andy's staying back. The ball's still in play.
You know, that's one of the amazing things, Dave, about this ball is this ball will actually hit the sidewalls and the ceiling. When you think it doesn't have a chance to make the front wall, it sort of springs.
One serves one.
It was just a little out of camera view. We didn't see the mannerisms of Andy Nett after he hit that ball, but he actually turned around toward the crowd like he didn't think it was going to make it to the front wall. You're right.
That's a great shot there from Andy. That ball was
Point.
angling downward quickly, and Andy
Two
followed it
serves
down,
one.
got his hand underneath that ball, and killed that ball in the left corner. That's one of the toughest fly kills you can execute.
Point.
You'd have to think Dan would have a little word with
Three
his partner
serves
here,
one.
Jake Plummer, and tell him, you know, on that return of serve, try and just flip that ball up high, get us in the rally. They really can't afford to lose points on those missed
Replay.
returns of serve.
Three serves one.
There's Jake.
Side
A little
out.
bit lucky there. Mishits that ball. That ball dribbles up there into the right corner.
One serves three.
This can be a setup. Andy's going to let it drop.
Good shot there.
Half out.
That's what happens when you hit that ball with so much velocity, David. Hits that side wall and
One
just
serve
cracks
three.
out. Big back wall set up for Sky. Sky's a very disciplined percentage handball player, Dave. Not a good shot there from Andy, and a good shot there from Dan.
Point.
Looked like Andy was trying to paddle that ball into the left corner, but that ball just sat up
Two
on a
serves
tee
three.
for the hand.
Two serves three.
Skip.
Jake should have let that ball get to the back wall and let Dan Armijo
Three
take that
serves
ball
two.
to the back wall, unable to pull his hand down.
Wow.
Take two. Three serves two.
Three serves two.
Jake does well with that ball. You see he pushes Andy back.
That's tough right there. Good for Dan Armijo to go over and take it, but he mishit that one.
Strange air there from Dan. That's a tough ball
Four serves two.
to kill. I know, Dave, after you got done webcasting, pimping merchandise, and running the tournament desk, you were able to get into the court last night at about 2:30 a.m. And you know just how dark it can be in those back corners.
Especially when they turn all the lights off at the club.
Replay.
Got a nice little match last night. Chip Morales and Jake Plummer versus
Four
myself and
serves two.
Abraham Montijo. And that took us into the wee hours. The club actually had to kick us out. But
We've been
finished it
kicked
up
out of clubs before.
for a different reason.
Didn't want to mention that.
I wanted
There's
to
a
keep,
big setup.
wanted to keep this webcast accurate.
Looked like Jake thought about backhanding that ball. Didn't, though. Not the right shot there from Andy.
That's going to make it.
And you see Andy just hits that ball way too hard.
Oh, look at Andy trying to be fancy. Now it's showtime out here for Andy Nett. Didn't even know we had
Point.
that in him. I didn't know Andy even had that in him.
He
No.
should leave that in Minnesota.
The no-look pass that actually almost came back and hit him.
Five serves two.
5 serves 2. We're going to 11. Winner goes to the finals. Andy Nett
Point.
and his partner. Jake Plummer's
You
going to
see
take a
Jake
timeout.
gets a little bit too
First
far away
timeout.
from the back wall there, trying to play that ball off the back wall, and that ball just came 6 inches off the back wall, and Jake was about 2 feet from the back wall. And that ball just died on him. That's an easy point there for the Dreamboat and Sky.
That was Jake Plummer calling that timeout right there. There's Jake Plummer in the white shirt.
Sky Peters' father, Robin, here with Sky. They enjoy this great sport together. Robin actually an All-American football player at the University of Montana. So there's a lot of ties here to the gridiron, Dave.
There's a picture of Jake Plummer and talking to his father, and that's Roland Plummer right there, looking down at his daddy. Jake Plummer's new son next to his wife, Coco.
Actually, Colette.
Call her Coco.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's her nickname. And that's Jake asking his dad some questions about this doubles match. Dad is a very good handball player. Won the Idaho State Championship 12 times over his career. Trying to catch what Steve Plummer is saying to his son there, Jake, who was getting advice from his papa.
6 serves 2.
Looks like Dan and Jake there getting ready to go 12 rounds. Jake gets that back. And
Point.
Andy with a great adjustment there. Didn't read that spin off the front wall. Was on the ground there as he dunked that ball into the right corner for a soft kill.
7 serves 2.
7-2. See if he stays with that hard serve down the right. He does. That ball is way off the back wall.
Replay.
Unfortunate there for Jake. That ball would have rolled into the right corner. Andy over hitting that serve with that much power, Dave. He needs to land that serve
2.
just about 6 inches to a foot past the short line. And once again, you see that ball way too deep.
Half out.
This guy's stuck there on the right side wall, unable to pick that ball
7
up.
serves 2. No.
This guy's got a nice wrinkle on that ball, Dave. I know you've been in the court with him. He
Second
can move
serve.
that ball both ways with the reverse and a natural.
I've never been on the court with Sky Peters, other
Thought
than
you'd go along with it.
a quick Vegas training camp serving clinic that I gave him once.
So you have been on the court with him.
I have been on the
Okay.
court, but not in a competitive type of way.
Didn't say it was competitive.
Sorry.
Just said on the court.
8 serves 2.
Didn't mean to undermine your words of wisdom there. 8 serves 2. We're going to 11. 3 more points, and Skylar Peters and I could have another connection in the next match.
And that would be?
The same thing you just brought up, because that's the only connection I have, really. But I'll go with you if you want me to.
That's a nice 2-all
Look
fist
at that
pass.
kick, though, from Andy Nett.
That really was a great get.
Are you serious?
Oh, that's
And then he
that's
closes
beautiful.
it out like that, and the referee actually likes it, even says it was beautiful. What is he, one of the Alvarados?
9 serves 2.
That's their go-to word. 9 serves 2, 2 points away.
Andy.
He could have played that off the side wall there.
Side
But
out.
we can't see it here on the live webcast, but he would have seen it if Andy would have taken it off the side
Actually,
wall.
would have been a setup.
2 serves 9.
Skylar has a lot of power.
That was a ball that Sky was set up for.
Watch this amazing rally right here between these two teams. You can tell it's crunch time now, Dave. Everyone's kind of picking it up. This is where the true athletes step up.
There's a lot of crunching going on.
I want you to explain that situation where Dan Armijo falls down after a lot of his kill shot attempts. What is he doing there? And that's gonna be
Replay.
That's an avoidable.
That ball actually hit Andy, did it not? Didn't it hit him?
Didn't look like it, but Andy actually hitting that ball. And
He can't stand back up. He was actually on his way back up.
okay, I thought so.
2
as
serves
well.
9.
No, I agree with the avoidable call.
Don't like this serve. I'd like to see Dan hitting some sort of serve that has a possibility for an ace at trailing 2-9. Really need some quick points, and there's a great shot
Point.
there from Dan. Dan just makes that.
That was so close.
That
3
couldn't have
serve
traveled
9.
1 more inch. That ball was heading down quickly.
I just don't understand that serve right there. Although he got a point, I would like to see the Rodney Fink double serve that comes over to the front wall, left side wall, comes out to the middle
4
here.
serves 9.
That's the Steel City Dominator.
Like to see the Steel City Dominator. That's the one right there, forcing Andy Nett to get out of position, and then Dan does that.
Skip.
And quickly, Dave, what looked like a tiebreaker that was about over is now very
5 serves
competitive.
9.
Dan and Jake actually with the momentum, though, trailing 5-9.
Score is 5-9, and I'm in love with my wife. Just thought I'd throw that in there really quick.
As am I.
With my wife?
Well, I do like her, but
Okay.
just mentioning my own.
That was a nice
Half
shot
out.
right there from Andy Nett.
I think my wife actually might be listening right now, so I'd like to say hello
5
to her.
serves 9.
I guess you can listen and get your nails done at the same time. 5 serves 9 is the score here. Dan Armijo needs the kill. Backhand,
Point.
which is normally successful for Andy Nett in these situations, wasn't there.
That's a sort of a bad habit, Dave, diving in there and hitting the ball backhanded.
6 serves 9.
I played with a guy last week, Dave, at the Vic Herskowitz doubles championship that actually backhanded fisted balls.
At one point, I
7 serves 9.
thought that was going to be illegal according to the rules, but they might have changed it back.
I wish it was, after seeing my partner hit it about 100 times. That's a ball Danny should have fly killed, and he didn't. But he hits a nice ceiling shot, and that ball...
Oh, no.
Skip.
Sounds like it's broken. It is.
They're actually going to get the serve back. You can actually break that, but he's going to break it.
Gonna have to replay that one.
It is a broken ball.
I heard
That's the
that ball
correct call.
break just before Danny missed that setup.
That's a correct call. It is a broken ball. And they are going to replace that ball. You're watching the live webcast here from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, in the Panhandle, just south of Canada.
For those of you wondering, that ball will be on eBay in about 7 minutes.
All right. Second hand in.
For those watching
7
at home,
serves 9.
that's actually a correct call. Broken ball, you get to play it over. 7 serves 9. That ball
Point.
actually hits. This is the serve I was telling you about. It confuses the doubles partners. They don't really know what
8
to do.
serves
Particularly
9.
guys that haven't played together before, Dave.
Do you think, I'll watch this play here. That's a good serve from Jake. But
It's a big setup. That's a nice shot there. And you see that new ball has just a little bit more life to it, Dave. It's moving through the court about 10% quicker.
That ball actually,
Contact. That hit you.
that should be an avoidable.
Replay.
Andy's,
I don't see that being avoidable.
You can hit the player on your follow through. That's just part of the rules.
Well, I thought
8
it hit,
serves 9.
it hit Danny. It hit Danny's headband, I believe.
Yeah, he actually hit Danny on the follow through. That means Danny was too close to him. That's an avoidable. It doesn't matter though.
It does matter.
Handball.
Side out.
okay.
Handball gods are rewarding Andy for, I guess, getting
9
upset.
serves 8.
This
9
is
serves
a
8.
big advantage. He's coming in with a new ball here, Dave, and you'll see this serve.
Wow,
Just
look at that.
incredible. That was
That
the
ball
fast.
slid. It slid quite a bit. So I got to give you a replay on that.
I don't know.
That's just a terrible call, Dave.
9 serves
Unbelievable.
8.
That ball was struck 92 miles per hour.
God, there it is again.
That's a point.
That was,
That was
the
the
same
same
slide.
exact serve.
That's just Andy's
10 serves 8.
power.
This is what we saw in 3-wall with this new ball.
Here it is, game point.
No.
This is frustrating.
serve.
Getting
If
that
this
brand
was
new ball
any
in here.
player but Andy Nett, Dave, you'd see a huge complaint here after that slide ball call. Andy doesn't say a word about anything. This guy with a nice pickup. Jake, a big back wall setup. Andy will just crush this ball, and he does.
Oh, look at that get from Jake Plummer. Makes the front wall. Now it's going to go crazy back here. The crowd loving it, too. The crowd is loving this. Andy Nett going to try to close it out. Jake Plummer is going to have to play against Andy Nett here. And Jake gets it again, but it doesn't make it.